Hello everyone and welcome to Coronation Street official today. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Something happened on the cobbles this week that has left fans absolutely speechless. And honestly, I don't think anyone saw it coming quite like this. Sarah finally snapped, and when she did, it wasn't quiet. It wasn't contained, and it certainly wasn't forgettable. Right in front of Theo, in a moment that felt like every bottled up emotion from the past several weeks came crashing down at once, Sarah launched a shocking attack on Danielle that has completely shifted the energy of the entire street. This wasn't a small argument or heated exchange of words, this was a full, raw, unfiltered breakdown that exposed just how much pressure had been building beneath the surface for far longer than anyone had acknowledged. The community is shaken, the relationships involved are fractured, and nothing is going to feel quite the same going forward. If you missed it, buckle up, because this is the kind of moment that defines a soap. To really understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to go back and think about everything that led Sarah to this breaking point. This was never just about one argument or one confrontation. This was weeks, possibly months, of suspicion festering, of jealousy gnawing at her quietly from the inside, of resentment she had no healthy outlet for, building up layer by layer until there simply was nowhere left for it to go. And when it finally went, it went explosively. I can't believe she actually did that. Honestly, Sarah is someone we have always associated with a certain kind of strength. A resilience that comes from surviving unimaginable things in her past. But this scene reminded us in the most jarring way possible that resilience has a limit. And when it breaks completely. The attack on Danielle wasn't just physical. It was deeply emotional in its delivery, in its timing, and the raw and almost desperate energy that drove it. Danielle, who has been positioned at the center of this growing tension for a while now, became the target of something far bigger than herself in that moment. She wasn't just the person standing in front of Sarah. She was the symbol of everything Sarah had been trying to hold together and failing to. That's what makes the confrontation so layered and so uncomfortable to watch. You understand Sarah's pain even as you are horrified by her actions. And that moral tension is exactly where the best soap drama lives. And then there's Theo. Imagine how he felt standing there. Watching all of this unfold, Theo is someone who has been quietly connected to the heart of this story in ways that still feel partially unresolved, and his presence during the attack added an almost unbearable intensity to the scene. He didn't just witness what happened. He was forced to stand at the intersection of every fractured relationships and every unspoken truth that had been avoided for too long. The fact that he was right there, unable to or unwilling to stop it, says so much about where things stand between all of these characters. His silence during and after the confrontation speaks volumes. And I genuinely could not stop thinking about what was going through his mind in those moments. What made the scene so visceral was the reaction of everyone around them. Bystanders frozen in place, caught between wanting to intervene and being completely paralyzed by disbelief. That reaction is real and human, and something viewers at home will recognize instantly. Because sometimes things happen so fast, so unexpectedly that your body simply doesn't know how to respond. The shock on the faces of those nearby wasn't just dramatic staging, it reflected something true about how communities function, how we expect people we know to behave, and how deeply unsettling it is when they don't. The couples have seen drama before, but this felt different, rawer, more personal. In the immediate aftermath, the street didn't explode into chaos, and somehow that made everything feel worse. There's something deeply unsettling about the quiet that follows a public breakdown like this. Because it means everyone is processing, everyone is forming opinions, and everyone is choosing sides before a single conversation has even happened. Sarah, visibly shaken by what she had done, began carrying herself differently almost immediately. There was a guardedness to her that hadn't been there before, a heightened awareness of how she was being perceived, and that kind of internal pressure can be just as destructive as the confrontation itself. Watching someone grapple with their own actions in real time without a clean resolution is some of the most compelling television Coronation Street can produce, and this storyline is delivering that in spades. Danielle's position in the community has shifted in ways that are genuinely complex. Some people are rallying around her, offering sympathy and support, while others are quietly reassessing the fuller picture of what led to this moment in the first place. That ambiguity is important. It prevents the story from becoming a simple victim and villain narrative, and it forces viewers to sit with the discomfort of not knowing exactly who to root for. That discomfort is intentional and it is effective. Danielle is not without her own complicated history in this wave of relationships, and the attack, as shocking as it was, hasn't erased any of that from public memory. And then you have the broader community responded to the emotional wreckage left behind. Conversations on the street have taken on a new edge. Alliances that once felt solid are showing cracks. The sense of collective trust that typically binds the residents of Coronation Street together feels genuinely threatened right now. Not because one incident destroyed everything, but because that incident revealed how much tension had already been hiding beneath the surface. It exposed that the unity people thought they had was always more fragile than it appeared. The street is quieter now, but it's the kind of quiet that hums with unresolved feeling, and that is far more dangerous than noise. What's most compelling about where the story goes from here is its refusal to offer easy answers. Can Sarah truly repair the damage she's caused, not just with Danielle, not just with Theo, but with her own sense of self? Can she reconcile the person she has always believed herself to be with the person she became in that unguarded moment of fury? These are not questions that resolve cleanly, and the show seems fully committed to sitting in that discomfort rather than rushing toward resolution. That patience in storytelling is a sign of confidence, and it's exactly what this kind of emotionally complex storyline deserves. And this is where Coronation Street quietly shifts from shock to something far more unsettling. The emotional consequences that don't fade overnight. Because what we are really seeing now isn't just fallout, it's transformation. Sarah's breakdown doesn't just expose anger, it exposes how fragile control really is when emotions are pushed too far, and that's what makes this so uncomfortable to watch. In my opinion, this moment changes how we see her completely, not as strong as or unstable, but as someone dangerously close to the edge, and that gray area is where the real drama lives. And Danielle, she's no longer just caught in the middle. She's now part of a story that people will keep questioning quietly, constantly. But here's the part that really lingers. Theo didn't just witness everything, she absorbed it, and that silence could mean more than any reaction. So the real question is, what happens when all of this finally gets spoken out loud? And even more importantly, can a community ever truly move on when everyone remembers exactly where they were when it happened? Looking ahead, it feels like this isn't the end of the conflict. It's the beginning of deeper fractures and possibly another confrontation that won't be easy to stop. Because when trust breaks this publicly, it rarely heals quietly. So now I'm wondering, are we about to see Sarah fight to reveal herself, or slowly lose everything she's been holding on to? And what about Theo? Will he finally step forward or stay in the shadows where it's safer but far more dangerous? If you feel that tension too, keep watching closely because the next move might not be loud, but it could change everything.